Everybody, so these are the 3 practice hands that I have purchased myself and have used. I have pros and cons for each one, except the red iguana. I just purchased this, so we're actually going to be doing an unboxing, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, let's hop right into this. So if you're on a budget, I recommend this plastic hand. I personally don't like this one because it causes pain in my hands from trying to maneuver it. And I don't know, I just don't like soaking off the product. As you can see here, I've used and abused this hand several times. But I don't like to waste acetone by just sitting it in a bowl or using the wraps to get it off. So just a quick little budget tip. You can take masking tape. Or what is this? Is this Scotch masking tape? I don't know what kind of tape this is. But you can take this. You don't need a lot. Take a little piece. And then you just place it onto the nail bed. And the reason why I like to do this is because it's easy removal. And I can also use the nails as nail art examples or nail art display. So what I do is I just wrap this around the finger. Before I get it completely wrapped around, I like to press down into the nail bed to get the definition of the cuticle. That way I have a guide for the cuticle work, as you could see here. So that's what I like to do. Another thing that I like about this method is that the glue dries quickly when you are applying a nail tip. So I'm just going to use these BU Half Moon curved nail tips. Ghetto glue here. But you don't need a lot of glue at all because the tape helps it adhere quickly. It soaks it right in. And you just place your tip on and you're done. You don't even have to sit there for 3-4 minutes trying to hold it down. So that's what I like about this one. And you can easily just take off the tape, either rip the tape off the sides after you're done building your nail, or wrap the tape behind it and use it as a nail art display. So that's what I like about this hand. It does have this little thing here for a stand. It came with like a stand plate, but I don't even know where that is because I don't use it. So if you are on a budget, this is a great this is a great practice hand for people on a budget. And then this little tip, you can't really use this for like if you need to post your sets on Instagram because it does look a little, you know, DIY or ghetto or ratchet, whatever you want to call it. But it's just really good for practice. And the tips stay on while you're filing, which is really good. As you can see, I can move it around and it's not coming up. It's not moving. This hand was $9.99 on the Nail Superstore, and this was the first practice hand I've ever purchased. So other than the ergonomics of the hand, it is a good investment. And then if you are interested in using just the hand itself without the DIY stuff, you can definitely use it as content for your Instagram, for your nail designs. But other than that, it gives me a lot of pain in my hands trying to hold it, you know, file, the acrylic, get my fingers in there. And it's not really resting on anything. So I am having to use my wrist and hand a lot while using this one, but it's okay if you're on a budget and if you know what you're doing. So there's that one. The second one is the Pana nail trainer hand. This I purchased on Walmart's website for $25. And I did purchase additional nail tips as well. It came with a box of practice tips. But until this tip I'm about to show you, I kept purchasing, you know. So as you can see, I took off this little fake nail tip here because it's just so bulky. And it really gets in the way of applying the plastic, your nail tips Not the practice tips, but the actual nail tips. It actually makes it very difficult. So I'm going to show you how I get those on. Obviously, I prep the nail trainer tip just by using a file. You will not be able to use an e-file on this. You'll have to use a hand file, and that'll get it nice and roughed up for you. And I use the BU Low C Curve tips, which I got on Amazon. The reason I use these are because they are a lot more flat, okay? But until I get the right size, I'll show you here. As you can see, it's, maybe you can't see, I don't know. Okay, as you can see, it is flat on there, okay? Can y'all see that? This nail tip sits perfectly flat on here, okay? I am having to apply a bit of pressure, but if I was to take a C-curve nail tip, you will see that it doesn't sit flat on the nail surface. You could see a little gap in here, but just get the flattest nail tip you can, rough up that surface, and then you'll apply the glue. You will need just a little bit because the glue will not dry quickly on this material of this trainer tip. And then you're just going to apply light pressure. You're going to apply light pressure to ensure that the nail tip adheres to the trainer tip. Now, if you don't wait for it to dry, it will lift as you're filing and it'll pop right off. So it's pretty secure on there, but as you can see, there is a bit of nail tip on the side. So you will have to file that down to get the right, width for your nail tip. If you used a smaller size to avoid having to file down the sides, you will run into the nail tip. You will run into the nail tip actually not laying flat on the surface of the trainer tip. So let's see. As you can see, just, sizing it, there is a gap. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is a gap there. Like, you're going to have to apply a lot of pressure, and then the way that the glue dries on here, it's probably not even going to stay. So you are going to have to use either a 2 or a 1 on the nail tip sizes. It's not expensive. You can reuse the materials, and it is actually really good for practicing shaping and trying to practice designs. The reason why I say designs is because these nail beds are so wide, okay? So you can really get good practice trying to learn glitter placement, rhinestone placement, things of that nature. But the cons for this hand, I would have to say the arm that sits on the table, because it does have a table clamp, is very stiff, okay? So even if you have it at the distance that you need to do nails, you're still going to struggle with the stiffness of this pole, this extender pole. It is flexible, but it's still stiff. So you will have to wrestle with it a little bit while you're doing nails, but it's good for shaping, good for design work. If you're trying to build an apex, you'll have to use a lot of acrylic. So let me just go ahead and do a demonstration, because there is one more thing I want to show you guys. The trick is, when using this practice hand to save a few dollars, obviously you want to apply, I know my monomer is dirty, so don't say nothing, this is just for practice. And I'm using a number 10 brush from Alpha, just because the nail bed is bigger and I'll be able to get more coverage. I'm going to do a clear base of acrylic. I'm not using primer because I don't want to waste product. We're not trying to get longevity out of this set. So I'm going to go ahead and use the pink acrylic powder from Mia Secret. And I'm going to apply a very thin layer, just as a base. Wait and stop. So there we go. I've applied a very thin base of clear acrylic. No, Mama. Okay. Trying to get in frame, you guys. Sorry. See what I'm saying? Like, it's just not. And then my nail table is extremely narrow, so like that doesn't help at all. Like, if you don't have a wide space, probably not the best practice hand for you. But we're just gonna set that red down on there. And I don't know if you watched my last video, but this Mia Secret colored acrylic is not a builder acrylic. What I have done to make it a little bit more usable is add clear acrylic, because it seems to be more of just a pigment than it is, you know, for building the acrylic nail. So it may get a little messy, but we're gonna go ahead and set that as the base for the ombre. I'm gonna do it pretty far back because, as you could tell, this nail is extremely long. Make sure there's good coverage. And when I added the clear acrylic to this, it made the coverage so much less marbly, because when I was just using it as they sent it to me, I was having issues with, you know, like color payoff. So that's what I did to make my colored acrylic, you know, a little bit more usable. I added clear acrylic into the container here. If you're trying to learn how to build an apex, there is no guide on the side of the cuticle areas. So if your balls are too wet, it is gonna run. If they're too dry, they're just gonna stay in place. You're really gonna have to move it around a lot to get the coverage and the buildup that you need. So my tip for this practice hand about saving a few dollars, getting your bang for your buck, I'm gonna remove this part that slides into the little holder here. As you can see, it just has this little notch there, and you can just press that in there or slide it in there. Do not use primer, okay? I'm sure you guys know this, but you can easily just lift this right up off of here. You can easily reuse the practice tip just by doing that. And then of course you can file and shape around here, do your gel top coat and all of that, and then you can use this as nail art display. Do this. The packaging is beautiful. I purchased the half hand. It was $75, and then I had to purchase the practice tips separately. And the colors on the website look a lot darker than they do in real life, but this hand, oh girl, look at that. It doesn't have a thumb. And I did not order the stand, but I think I'm gonna have to. But we'll see when I try to use this. Now the practice tips, oh, it also came with a pretty little ring. The packaging did not come with instructions, so you will have to pull it up on your phone or on your computer about how to apply the nail tips. There was information about using a particular glue to keep them in place, but I did not purchase that. So I'm just gonna make the best of it and see if I can still get my designs and stuff. I bought this hand specifically for content on my Instagram while I'm getting my license, because a colleague of mine told me that they just see the same hand all the time, like my mom's hand or my hand, my cousin's hand, whatever. But I'm like, dang, like I can't really be doing nails like that. So like, what you want me to do? So I just bought this hand. It was $75. But as you can see, it goes down pretty deep in there. This is all the way down to the fingertip. And it is pretty accurate. So you will be able to get good cuticle work. Let's see about filing. Now, the thing I like about this half hand is that there's not anything extending from the hand that would prevent me from moving it around in the way that I need it to. It is moving a bit, so that will interfere with my shaping unless I just take my time and do it gently. So yeah, you guys will probably have to get the glue and the stand, but I mean, it's really not that bad. I'm going to be using it for aesthetic purposes, so I'm not really that bothered by it. I'm pretty satisfied with my purchase. So if you can't afford this, then you do have those other two options. And yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it now, right now. You guys have been loving the supply haul, so I will have AliExpress coming very soon, but y'all know that takes like a month, 2 months. I only ordered glitters, so I'll probably do a collective haul of all the things that I've ordered over the last few months. But anyway, again, my name is Rebecca, and I hope to see you soon.